Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Candice Bobchak, and today we are talking about the first principle of graphic design, which is contrast. Contrast is all about differences, and it can make your design work more engaging and dynamic. So let's get started. Contrast in design refers to the arrangement of opposite elements. It is all about making certain elements stand out by using different colors, sizes, shape, texture, and more. But before we dive into the details, let's talk about why contrast is so important. Contrast is one of those things that creates visual interest and guides the viewer's eye. It can emphasize key elements, create hierarchy, make your design more readable. There are several types of contrast that you could use in your design. You could do contrast of color, contrast in size, shapes that contrast each other, and texture contrast. Let's start with color contrast. This is probably the most common type of contrast. Using contrasting colors can make elements pop and grab attention. Think of black text on a white background. It's simple but very effective. Complementary colors, which are the opposite of each other on the color wheel, also create strong contrast. Next, we have size contrast. This is about using different sizes to create hierarchy and focus. Larger elements naturally draw more attention, and smaller elements demand, littler attention. For example, this poster, the title is much larger than the body text to make the title stand out. Shape contrast involves using different shapes to create visual interest. Mixing geometric shapes with organic shapes can make a design more dynamic. For example, combining circles with a series of rectangles can create a striking visual effect. Texture contrast is another great way to add depth to your design. Pairing smooth textures with rough textures can make elements stand out and add a tactile feel, even if it's just visual. So how can you use contrast in your work? Start by identifying key elements that you want to emphasize on. Use color contrast to make them pop. Play with size to create hierarchy. And mix different shapes and textures to add interest. Experiment with different combinations. Don't be afraid to be bold. High contrast can be very striking, but sometimes subtle contrast can be just as effective. It's all about finding the right balance for your design. Contrast is an incredibly powerful tool. So next time you're working on a piece of design, think about how you're using it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear about them down below. And maybe you could tell me how you use contrast in your design work. Anyway, that's all for now. Bye! For example, in this poster, the title is much larger.